Scandal! We might have ourselves a scandal. Ray Comfort hit it out of the park with that there DVD, Evolution versus God. Get your copy at wretched.tv. Ray Comfort went out into the streets of California, specifically to a university where there was an atheist convention. Yep, they have them. Ray asked some very basic questions, and university professors, leading evolutionists like Professor P.Z. Myers, had absolutely no lucid response. It's selling like hotcakes. Get your copy at wretched.tv. Now, Ray Comfort also put this thing online, or at least parts of it, and the atheists have seen it, and they're not happy, and they're accusing Ray of lacking integrity.
Ray, along with the American Atheists, I ask that you release these unedited interviews that you so clearly manipulated in your pathetic excuse for a documentary. The back and forth between him and Dawkins is just embarrassing, okay? For the human race, it's that embarrassing. This guy's a scam artist. He's conning everyone. I really challenge you, Ray Comfort, to release the unedited videos of these poor scientists and P.Z. Myers that you just obviously just botched to whenever you were editing to make them look like idiots.
Somebody's mommy should have washed her mouth out with soap. But that aside, the accusation is, Ray Comfort, you did some fancy editing in the studio to make these experts look foolish. Do we have ourselves a controversy? We decided to send our intrepid reporter, Todd Friel, to interview Ray Comfort to get to the bottom of this. Take it away, Todd. Thanks, Todd. Almost 1 million people have viewed Evolution versus God, but not everybody is digging it. Ray Comfort, on the YouTube presentation of Evolution versus God, how many posts, how many comments have you received?
It's something like 57,000, and I've noticed that with YouTube, often you get 200, 300, 400 comments. 57,000, most of them are very, very angry.
What exactly are people angry about? That your beard is better coiffed than the beard of P.Z. Myers, or is it something else?
It is something else. Yeah, they're upset that there's no scientific evidence to back up evolution, and they're left. I mean, the emperor has no clothes. Darwinian evolution is unscientific. Our movie shows that coming from the mouth of experts at UCLA and USC. It's not me that's the expert. I went to the experts, and they're the ones that came up with nothing to substantiate the claim, the scientific claim for Darwinian evolution. They were like fish floundering on the floor of a desert. It's quite amazing.
Now, the accusation, Ray, is that you were only able to make them look bad because you did some magic in the editing room. Did you leave the good stuff from the evolutionists on the floor?
No, we didn't. You see, they're hoping beyond hope that there is proof for Darwinian evolution, and we cut it out and it's on the floor and they want to know what it is. But it's not there. You know, Richard Dawkins' flock is in chaos. They're running around like turkeys without heads. They're panicking. Richard Dawkins is panicking. A reviewer said when they watched Evolution versus God, before it was released, they said, Dawkins will have a cow. And all he needs to do is step up to the plate and say, there is scientific evidence for Darwinian evolution. Here it is, and that will discredit the movie and the whole thing will be over. But no, he's hiding.
Oh, okay, but Ray, here's you know this as well as I do. Typically, the response to that is, well, it's more complicated. It can't be given in just a very quick response like you were expecting in Evolution versus God. It's more nuanced than that. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, it takes millions of years to give a response. And we haven't got millions of years to wait. You know, these guys had opportunity. I said, give me one example of Darwinian evolution. You know, I'm friends with American atheists. We get on good. We've got each other's phone numbers. We tweet. And I said, be specific as to what the problem is. What was the deceitful edit? And they said, it's where you said to Professor Craig Stanford of USC, give me evidence of evolution, Darwinian evolution. He says, I can give you thousands. And I said, give me one. He says, I can give thousands. I said, one. And then we had a quick edit. And they said, that's when he gave evidence. You know, my editors edit with integrity. They're men of God. And if he'd given evidence of Darwinian evolution, we would have shown it. When P.Z. Myers said, human beings are still fish, if he had changed his mind and said, hang on a minute. Human beings aren't fish. We don't have gills. And he said, no, I changed my mind. We wouldn't have used it. But because he thinks human beings are still fish, we left him and we went to someone else who thinks fish is evidence for evolution. So we edit with integrity. There was a number of people that I interviewed. They got angry because they could see they were going to be humiliated if we used the footage. I had legal right to use their footage because I asked them on camera for permission, but I said as they walked away, okay, we won't use the footage. So we edit with integrity, we fear God, and there is one way to completely debunk this whole thing, to get rid of it, and that is go to the scientists themselves. You've got P.Z. Myers and say, P.Z., did you give evidence for Darwinian evolution? He didn't. Neither did Dr. or Professor Craig Stanford or the other two, Peter Nonax, etc., and Gail Kennedy. None of them gave any evidence for Darwinian evolution whatsoever. And they're in a panic because they think we've got it and we don't. It's still missing.
Yeah, they could just put together their own little response video showing all the evidence for evolution that you asked for. Give me something that I can see with my own eyes. I don't want to take this on faith. A change in species? Kind. That's the key word. It's not species, because what is a change of species, Ray?
Well, a change in species or a change of species, and there are 14 different definitions of species. You've got the Chihuahua, you've got the Great Dane. They're different species, but they are still dogs. Even a cat knows that. And so human beings should understand these are still dogs. There's no change of kinds. 10 times in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, it speaks of a change of kinds. They're afraid of that word kinds. It's a biological word. We've got a definition from a biological website of kinds. So we're not using anything that's not biologically acceptable. And you can see as I talk to the word kinds to each of these evolutionary scientists, 3 of the 4 of them nodded in affirmation as I said the word kinds, and even verbally gave affirmation that they understood what we were speaking about. Evolutionists want to cloud the issue and say, oh yeah, evolution is real, it's scientific. They're speaking of adaptation, they're speaking of speciation. They're not speaking of what Darwin believed, that there'd be a change of kinds. That missing link is still missing. The emperor still has no clothes, and I thank God that we've got something like evolution versus God so that parents can have something to show their kids when they come home from university and say, hey, evolution is scientific, the Bible is a myth, I've become an atheist, I'm living with my girlfriend. Sorry, the parents can now say, sit down, watch this, or you're not getting dinner.